there's a new harness, and don't forget you want to put new intake manifold gasket and throttle body gasket. No point in doing this job without replacing those. Hey guys, in the fast lane here. This is a 2010 Acura TSX, and this vehicle was not starting, so it appeared to be a dead battery. And after doing some investigating on this problem, turned out to be the wiring harness right here. Look at that. And it wasn't looking like this. I picked at it just to double check it, but started hooking up the jumper, got it to start, and all of a sudden, about 5 minutes in, I start seeing some smoke come out of this wire, so we killed it off. And yeah, if you look right here, it has been corroded. First thing I did though was hook up the amp meter right here. Hooked it up to this main sending wire. This one sends it back to the battery. And I was getting like 0.01 or 0.1 right around there, but it wasn't even a full amp. I thought that was strange. I thought, okay, maybe you have an alternator problem. But when I saw this, I knew right away that the alternator wouldn't be sending any amps because it was just burning them out. Wasn't going to the battery. Now, something strange was happening before this, about a few months before, and I was about to change out the AC compressor clutch. The AC compressor clutch down here was not engaging sometimes when you would start the vehicle, and then other times all you have to do is just tap the outside, it would kick right on. So what I'm thinking is, this is not proven yet, but we'll find out once I do this wiring harness swap, is possibly the wiring harness was shorting out. This wiring harness goes all the way down here, it goes to here, and then it branches off right here. It goes to the alternator, and then it branches off down here to the AC compressor. And that is the signal wire to the AC compressor clutch. What could be happening is it was starting to short out here, and when it got down to there, it wasn't applying enough voltage to engage that AC compressor magnetic clutch. Runs off of electricity and magnetism to pull that plate in. This could be it. We'll find out. If you're looking for a part number, it's going to be right down here on this wiring harness. And you can see right here it's 32111-RL5A003. And that is the part number for a 2009 to 2014 Acura TSX. Unfortunately, it's looking like the only way to do this job properly is to remove the intake manifold. It's unfortunate, but you're really not going to get underneath there where the starter is without banging yourself up. There's very limited space, so we're going to have to pull off this intake manifold, take off this top shield right here, just to get access to it. In the meantime, just go ahead and disconnect the battery. You don't want this thing sitting like this, starting a fire. Go ahead and take off the ground first. And the reason why is if you accidentally touch your wrench to the chassis, it's not going to ground out or spark. If you were to take off the positive first, you could end up hitting the chassis, causing a spark. Don't want that. Now that we've taken off the ground, if we take off the positive terminal, you can touch this wrench on the chassis or whatnot, or any ground part, and it won't spark. Now we're just going to leave that like that until the new part comes in. While I'm waiting, I'm just going to go ahead and charge up the battery. It was down at about 11 point something volts, and you don't want to leave a battery like that because that's how it ends up getting sulfate. Go ahead and charge it up while you're waiting, get it all ready, and then we can swap this out. In order to get this off though, we're going to have to take off the intake manifold right here and the throttle body. Take off this intake tube right here. The wire runs down underneath. Got to unplug it from this harness right here, and then the fuse box on the bottom, it's looking like, and then it runs down through here, down through there, underneath the intake manifold right here, and it comes out down here. So you got to disconnect it here. All this has got to come out. This has to come off. No way to really get in there to get it off the starter. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this vacuum. On this same line though, right here you can see this is actually a coolant reservoir. It runs right down through here. There's a little neck down there. So we'll just loosen this. Squeeze this real quick. Pull out. There we go. We're probably just going to leave that like that. We don't want to drain any of the antifreeze out. It would not be good. Next thing, we'll go ahead and take off this 10 right here. Get this 10 millimeter. That one, and then we'll take the other one off. We got a little wire right here. Pull it out. Now we can just set this aside. Now I'm going to go ahead and take off the throttle body. We got 12 millimeter here, here, one down here, and right here. Right here, there's a plate right here. If you can see it, you gotta be careful that don't fall off. It looks like it has a lip. There's one. They both look about the same size. Yeah, you can see how this comes right off, so don't lose that. Same thing on the other side, it looks like. I really like that design. Alright. Now we still have the coolant lines hooked up right here. We're going to leave that alone. And it looks like we have another 10 millimeter right here, bracket. What we can do is just push up on this guy right here. There's a little clip right there. Push it forward, pull up. There we go. And just set that out of the way. There we go. That looks good. Now over here on the back side we have one of those clips as well. Just don't forget to place these back in there. Before we go taking anything else off, I'm just going to take this cover off. Two 10 millimeters right here. Same length, set those aside. All you do is lift up. And right here we have a little rubber grommet. Just hooks in there, so you're going to want to put it. With this intake manifold, we're not taking it off right here. We're actually going to be taking it off right here. This is the plastic part, and right here on this side, this is the cast aluminum. We'll just take a brush, and we're just going to brush this way. If you do this before you take off the throttle body, you can brush that way, but we took off the throttle body, so we're going to brush this way. Just get everything out of the little crevice, so when we separate it, nothing falls into the intake, the other part, the half aluminum cast intake. Just clean it up as good as you can. Next, we're going to take off this brake booster. It goes right into this intake plenum port right here. Go ahead, lift up, just give it a pull. And then the next thing, we have another vacuum line right here. Probably just pull up. A little tight on that one. There, and you hear it break loose. There we go. Just set that aside. Next, we're going to break free this grommet right here on this wiring harness, and then we got a plug here and another plug down here that we got to disconnect, and that should separate that. So See if we can't get this one off. There we go. All you do is just squeeze the bottom right here. Just squeeze it and then push up. That one's done. Right here we just push down. That's done. And then we got the main one down here. Now to make this a lot easier, I'm just going to take off this 10mm bracket and should be able to get to it. There we go. Now, well, technically we can just leave it like that for now because it's off the intake manifold. That's all we wanted. We'll just leave that like that for right now. Now right down here we have another, it looks like 12mm. It's right there. We got to get to that and just take the one bolt off and it'll line up. Once we put it back on, it'll line up with that hole. No sense of taking off these right here because that's more bolts or nuts that we have to worry about. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. See if we can get in here, way down here. Probably have to get it from this side. You're going to have to come from the right side towards the battery. Yep, it's 12. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Look at that, even got the bolt. Next up, we're going to take off these vacuum lines instead of disconnecting them, because each one goes in a specific spot on this solenoid right here. So we got the one with the pink that goes on the top. We're not going to mess with that. We're just going to pop them off right here. Just push that way. So 1 and 2. And then pull them out and wrap them around. So now they're not connected to the intake manifold and we just pull it right off. Now we have one more, and this is the bottom one. The bottom line on the solenoid goes right here. We got to pull this off. Now vacuum lines are pretty tight sometimes, so what we're going to have to do is get a flathead in there and pry it out. Come in here with a flathead. And we just want to assist it. There we go. And that's it. There is another vacuum line right here. Can't really get to it. We'll take the intake off and then we'll have a look at it from the inside. Now you're going to need a little short stubby extension on a 12mm deep socket. Or right down in here, that middle one. So what we have here is we have one here, one there, one right here, and then one more right here. So we have 2, 4, 5 bolts. Let's go ahead and take these off real quick. We got actually 2 nuts and 3 bolts. And just in case you're wondering, they're all the same size length bolts. So you don't got to worry about order. One more hidden little gem down here underneath the throttle body. Probably can do without an extension. So a total of 6, and we have 2 nuts and 4 bolts. Now everything will come right off, and pretty much we could actually just work like this. We don't even have to take the vacuum line off back here. We can just work like this. Now here's a better angle. What I was talking about, this vacuum line right here. But we can just leave that alone. We need to get all the way down in here and take out this harness. Here's what it looks like down here. If you're also needing to do a starter repair on a K-Series engine, it's right here. This is how you get to it and everything. All it is after this point is just 2 bolts. There's one here and then one on the other side, right over there. You pull out the starter with this job as well. So just a good look real quick before I go digging through. We got to disconnect this. This is the remote wire to the starter. And then this is the wiring harness right here. Clips in here. There's a little clip underneath here. We got to pop it out, slide it forward. And then you can see how it runs all the way down here. Right like that. Then it comes up over here. Goes into the alternator and the AC compressor. So if you were having any alternator charging problems or your AC compressor was kicking on, kicking off because it wasn't activating the magnetic clutch right there, this definitely could be the culprit. Crazy. Now to disconnect this main harness right here that runs to the injectors, you're going to take the screwdriver right here on the back side and you're going to flip this piece up right here. Right there. There we go. And it came off of that little hook right there. Right there. And now you're going to push up. And it unlocks it. Look, just like that. There we go. Now this latch right here, you can see it goes into the other plug, and then when it goes in, you pull down on this and it'll lock it in right there. We're going to leave it open for the next new harness. Now on the next harness, we're going to take this bracket off right here. We can do it when it's off the vehicle, but you push down on this clip right here and take the bracket off, put it on the new one. We'll do that later. Now we're going to disconnect all of this. First, we're going to take off the remote wire, push down right there, and pull out. We still have to take off the main power to the starter. Make sure your battery's disconnected. Ours is already disconnected, because if you touch the negative, this pipe right here, this coolant line to that, it's going to be a spark. Then we have a little grommet right here. Let's go ahead and take this clip out. Just squeeze and push. There we go. Just like that. Looks like we have a knock sensor right here. Not sure if you can see it, but it's just a regular clip. You squeeze it and pull it out. There we go. Knock sensor. And then it looks like the only thing holding us back right now is another clip right here. You got that clip. Let's take that one out. Squeeze and push. There we go. And then this one right here, which you can't see, it's underneath. But on the bottom here, all you do is push down on the tab. There's a little tab underneath it. Right there. Just push down and pull out. See the tab right here? This little tab right there. You just push down on that tab right there and pull. Now we got to get to the starter. There's a little boot right here. You just pull up on it. There we go. And that looks like a 12 millimeter. Instead of pulling out this starter, I'm going to show you a trick to get this 12 millimeter bolt off. You can see the clearance. You got the pipe here, the coolant pipe. You have another hose right here that's really in the way. What we're going to do is we're going to take a 12 millimeter deep socket. We're going to first fish it on there. So come through like this, and you're going to get your finger underneath and kind of pull it forward. There we go. Just like that. Now we're going to get a wrench and try to squeeze it on there. There we go. Nice. Look at that. Without pulling the starter. Because if you couldn't get in there, it has this lip around here to where you can't get a wrench on it. And you can't get a short socket in there because you got this coolant pipe here. So this is a little sneaky trick. Then we can hand tighten it later and then tighten it up like this. There we go. That saves some time, no torquing down the starter. There we go. Next couple of things, we just got to unplug this wire going to the AC compressor. Just a little clip. Just push in. Push in right here. Pull out. That one's down. Same thing with this one. Little clip right here on the side. Push in. Pull out on the alternator. Then we got a little grommet we got to pop off. And then we have one more. Probably another 12. That might be a 10. Yeah, that's a 10 millimeter. Let's go ahead and pop that off. Wow, that was on there good. There we go. Just got to pop off this grommet real quick. Now that we have that all finished, we're going to come over here and follow it all the way to the fuse box. So right here, we just got to push this little lever over and pull out. So I'm going to do that real quick. You can do it with one hand, just push. There we go, push and pull out. That one's done. We have another grommet right here. Just take this, push it. We have another grommet right here. Same thing, we gotta pop that grommet off right there. Go ahead and tackle this right here. This guy right here. If you look closely, push up, push out. That's it for that. And we got one more. This guy right here has a little clip right there. Looks like it disconnects it off the bracket. And then right here, if I can get my finger in there. Push down, pull out. That should be everything other than the fuse box. Yeah, there we go. It's all off except for this grommet. I'll get that in a minute. To pop this fuse box off, you just push on these little clips right here. Pull that out. And now we have to take off these two mains right here. Now you're going to want to remember which color. So the one on the right is going to be copper, and the one on the left, if I can get these colors right for you, the one on the left right here, the terminal is going to be silver on the bottom, and then the terminal on this one looks goldish. You're going to want to get it right. You cannot get it wrong. All right, we have 5/16, two of them. Silver guys on the left, and then we have the gold on the right. Also, if you pay attention, the left is round, and then The one on the right is square. Well, let's go ahead and pull it all out. There we go. That's the whole harness. There's the new harness. And don't forget, you want to put new intake manifold gasket and throttle body gasket. No point in doing this job without replacing those. Here's the new one. Really, really nice. Brand spanking new. Even comes with a nice red cap. My plans are to start from the left, work from the alternator, AC compressor, then go to the starter and work my way underneath here, and then go back to the fuse box. Then last step, connecting it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change out these gaskets real quick on this intake manifold and the throttle body. Do that real quick, and then we'll get to it. Now these are real simple. You just grab them right here, pull out. So for that, and for the throttle body, same deal right here. Pull out. Put the new ones back on. Same thing. Can't put them on wrong. Just like that. Just line them up. If you got a lot of oil in your galleys, go ahead and clean it out with a paper towel. I went ahead and wiped mine real quick. That's it. The throttle body, the same thing. This one's a little bit bigger looking, but it's not really. Just find it right there. Kind of got to crunch it in. This one's a little stretched out. Is that? It doesn't look like it'll fit, but it will fit. Watch. Just watch. Just get it like this. Like I said, it doesn't look like it'll fit, but it will fit. Trust me. See? It didn't look like it, but it's the right size. It looks a little too big, but it's not. And there we go. Now this is the new harness and the old harness, and I have them both lined up. And if you remember earlier, I was talking about these two plugs. We have the bracket. We need to swap them. So you just lift up right here. Lift up on this little guy. You pull it out, and now we'll immediately swap it over to the next one. All you do is push it in like this. That's it. So we have it going the right way. It's just easier to see compared next to each other that you get it done right. First thing you want to do is just go ahead and set it in here where it needs to go, underneath the radiator hose, the top one. And then right here, we just connect this one right to this bracket. And I just tucked the power connector right there, just leave it behind it. So we can go like this. Just clip that on there just like that so it keeps it in line. And now we can just go ahead and connect everything else. Next thing, I'm going to go ahead and connect this main piece right here. Give it a twist. And we had it connected just like this. So now we have that like that. This will come on the back of the intake manifold. With this, I don't want to plug it in just yet. So now that holds that nicely. We come over here. We have the starter. Set that on there real quick. Just like that. And we can plug in the remote. And don't forget, we have the knock sensor right here. See which way this goes, like that it looks like. There we go. And then we have a grommet right here. Right there. Just take it, Pull it up. That's locked in. It all looks like OEM factory. We got another one right here. Everything's looking factory. There we go. We have another grommet right here. We're gonna bend it, try to get it in the right direction. See this purple one right here? There we go. So this will just go like this. And then plug this one into the top. Go ahead and put the 10 on here, the 12 there. We got one more, and it's on the bottom down here. That's for the AC compressor. There we go. It's all nicely ran, nothing's loose, everything's like factory. Go ahead and button up this 10 millimeter. Just want it hand snug. Nothing crazy. We don't want to break it. Then we'll fold the boot over. Real nice. Now the trickier one. Take this starter wire. Get the 12 on there. If we can get it started, that would be nice. There we go. Now we got to sneak this 12 on there. This is the tricky part. There we go. All done. Now we can slide the boot over. There we go. That looks great. Next, I'm just going to take some rubbing alcohol and a paper towel and wipe off this aluminum intake. Get it semi-clean around the runners where that gasket's going to meet. Let's see if we can get this done in one go. Would you look at that? Super nice. First thing, I'm just going to get the nut started. It's always nice having clean bolt threads. Everything just goes smooth, smooth, smooth. I'm going to stick the bolts in, 12 millimeter bolts. Just get them all in there. This one's a little bit longer. All the bolts are the same size, but that's just a deeper galley to get to. And then the last one down here in the corner. All these bolts right here on the intake manifold and the throttle body are 16 foot-pounds. And then down here on the bracket, that one bolt, that one 12 millimeter, that's also 16 foot-pounds. That's foot-pounds, not inch-pounds. I'm just going to start in the middle, kind of like an X or a triangle. Then we get the last one down here by the throttle body. Always double check your work. And we're good. Now we just got to do the bottom bracket, 16 foot-pounds. Now we got to take this 12 and try to get our hand down there. You want to get it started first. Probably should have got it started first before we torqued it down, because sometimes they'll be off just a little bit, but looks like it's going in just fine. There we go. Now the one thing I was telling you not to forget are these guys. So don't forget them. Basically they just go like this and they fold underneath. We got to do it to the back side over here too. If you forget this, it's going to be real challenging. They're not hard, you just kind of flip them on the back over here. There we go. I took them off because it would be real difficult to find them if you lost them. So there we go. Now go ahead and clean this off real quick. I'm going to clean that with a paper towel. A little paper towel with some rubbing alcohol. Can even clean the throttle body while we're at it. Look at that. But we're just getting it slightly clean. Make sure there's nothing in the runner. And now flip it around and it should line up. There's a little peg sticking out, kind of like a dowel pin, but it's a plastic one. There it is, it holds it in place. Then we just take our bolts. They're all the same size. Get them started on these little brackets. These are strange. Probably to cut costs or something. And these are 16 foot-pounds as well. All the 12mm bolts are 16 foot-pounds. So we'll go on a crisscross, like an X. Double check. Sometimes things like to settle in, get a little looser. It's always good to double check. Alright, that's good. Now over here we just got to tidy a few things up. You see that little clip right down there, right there? I'm going to pop this back in there with my hand. Just kind of come through here. Should have popped it on first, but no big deal. There we go. And then this one right here. back there. There we go, and then this one, right like that. Don't forget this one right here. When you start it up, it'll be hissing, and you might be getting a surge where the engine starts going up and down. Brake booster, that's right here. Give it a little turn. And pull these pliers. I always like to push my pliers in there to make it wider. That one. Then we got another vacuum line right here. I'll have to squeeze that one down off camera. Then we got a clip right here. Where'd that little guy go? Here it is. Right here. Have this wire wrapped around the front. Now we can plug it in. Right here, we can hook it onto the bracket. There we go. Get this plugged in right here. And then we have the main plug down here. Before we plug it in, or before we bolt the bracket up, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. Right here, you're going to, once you get it pushed in, you're going to push this white piece down till it clicks. And that's it. Now, this guy goes just like this. And then this clips in right there. That's all tight, and then pop that in like that. Keep everything out of the way. Like factory. If you remember right, the gold goes on the right and the silver goes on the left. So we go ahead and turn it, and they go in sideways like that, and then same thing with the silver, brass, gold. Now we have to use the original bolts that came with it. Original 5/16, I believe it is. Yep. Go ahead, hand tighten those, and then we're pretty much done with the fuse box. All done with that. Now we can just put the fuse box cap back on, lid. That's it. Make sure this doesn't touch the positive terminal. We don't have the ground hooked up, so we're okay. Now, the next thing, we got this big one right here. All we do, we actually didn't even have to unplug that. I don't know why I unplugged it. And then we got this guy right here. This is the one that it clips underneath right here on the back side. So this one's going to be hard to show you, but right down here it clips on. I'm going to go ahead and slide this on underneath and clip it in. To make it easier, just go ahead and pull this little clip right here, get it out of the way, and then you can see how right here it's got a hook on. Let's see if I can get it so you can see it. Actually, the grommet right here needs to go on top, not underneath, so we got to pop that out. Yeah, this grommet right here, it was underneath. I put it underneath by mistake. It needs to go on top, because if it doesn't go on top, then it doesn't reach. So there we go. Like that. And now this will reach. probably took this off because it makes it easier to get to. So here we go. We're going to clip this in right here. And then we're just going to slide it on this bracket right here. Like that. And then we'll take this one. And this one right here on the back side slides right on this. So we go straight up and down. That's it. Now we're on the home stretch. All we got to do is put this intake tube back on. And there's little tabs right here and you just line them up. And the same thing over here. There's another tab right here that you line up right there. So the first thing we'll do, lift that up, line the tab up. That, do the same thing with this one. We got a little wire that kind of gets pushed in right here. There we go. So that's all lined up. The last thing, we'll just tighten that hose clamp. Make sure to put this back in all the way. And that's pretty much it. Just do the final touches right here. Now all we have to do is go over there and just put that cover on. Just come over here with this grommet, line it up right there. Just double check everything, make sure you got everything connected. Nothing unplugged or anything. And then line it up right there, push down. And it's always nice when these are the last two bolts for the whole job. No bolts left behind means you did a good job. Now the final stage is to hook up the positive first and then hook up the negative. So this is always the tricky part. So go ahead and tighten this one down. If you touch anything on the frame, it won't hurt it because we don't have the ground hooked up. But if we had the ground hooked up, it would short it out. And now, the moment of truth is the ground. And there we go. Here's stuff moving in the vehicle. Just a quick update. Changing out the wiring harness did solve the AC compressor clutch not engaging issue. It has been a little over a month and have not had a single issue yet with this AC compressor clutch, whereas before there was regular not engaging issues pretty consistently. So like every day, every other day, and now it's never acted up since. So I would say that changing out this wiring harness did solve this issue. The first thing I would check though, if you do have an issue with your AC compressor clutch, first check the AC compressor clutch, make sure everything's functioning properly there. If that fails, then you might want to look in this harness somewhere. My issue was right about here. Started heating up, smoking. Didn't do it right away, but when I started jumping it, pushing that current through, it started smoking the harness. Just to give a little bit more information about this AC compressor issue, the refrigerant levels were topped off fine. The low side was good pressure and the high side was good pressure. If that is checking out good, the next thing it could possibly be is your high pressure sensor right here on the high side. That sensor goes out, it won't engage the AC compressor. Also, another thing that could be is the AC condenser fan. If that doesn't kick on, that could be a relay problem over here in the fuse box, and it won't turn the fan on. And if the fan doesn't turn on, then the AC compressor isn't going to be triggered by the remote switch. Those are other things to check out. But in my case, it was a bad wiring harness.